first of all, and I doubt if too many in this room will be surprised that the brains, the genius behind this is a woman. My wife, Terry Shannon, she has been talking about end of life long before I know her. And we'll be together 30 years in 2 weeks. So she's been talking about end of life long before that. I'd come home and she'd be talking to her friend who's an estate attorney, and they're like, you know what, this problem happened or this problem happened. And I said, you know, Carrie, when did you start talking? You know, when did you start thinking about this? Because I remember when I was a little kid, driving around, you know, in the backseat of the car, my mom would look over at the funeral home and say, don't take me there. There's not enough parking. Or, don't take me to that funeral home. I don't like the color of the lipstick. So she was already thinking like, well, Mom, how am I supposed to remember that? And why aren't you writing it down? And she's worked in over 300 hospitals in the United States in over 30 years. And more she's talking about there's got to be a better way. So I was in a totally different industry. I was in it for 30 years myself. I had my own business for 19 years. Closed it down, you know, it was time, it was over. I said, honey, if you really want to build your dream, this is the time to do it. So she went, besides working full-time, she went to Loyola Medical School and got another degree in bioethics, a master's in bioethics, to write the content of our service. So she created all this depth and comprehensiveness of what could happen if you don't plan ahead. We built and created Final Roadmap. And what we do is we are a comprehensive guide and toolkit for all end-of-life issues. And we allow you to think about what you want for yourselves, to write it down, to securely store it there, and to share those wishes with anybody in the world. So all these questions about like, yes, start the conversation, talk, we need to talk about it. But we can turn those talks into action. What we do is try and make you think about what's important. What are the 3 to 5 things that will make life worth living to you, and explain those to your family. So when I talk to Kimberly, she's like, we're doing this thing on this grief dialogues. I'm like, oh, they're coming to Seattle. Well, why don't you come down to LA? And I'm like, okay, so let me tailor this to grief. And I thought, how can planning help with grief? And my first thought was, I think it helps ease it. I am not so pretentious that I know the answers. Wouldn't it make more sense if you didn't have to worry about other problems around end of life and be able to concentrate on how you feel and the loss that you feel and how to deal with it, instead of worrying about financial problems or family members fighting about that's what Mom wanted, or the guilt, like I don't know if I made the right decision. So I strongly believe that if you plan ahead, it's going to make that easier. It's still true. And don't you love when you hear, well, if I die? Yeah. Really? Wow. I think there was one person that claims that, he came back if he did die. Everyone's going to die. And we're not going to die sooner just because we talk about it. So, this medical care, when they talk about the unnecessary pain and suffering, that's only talking about medical. There are so many other issues that can come up around end of life that people can do by doing it prevents problems. And that's the goal of Final Roadmap, is to prevent problems. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, a very strong Irish Catholic neighborhood. I have 5 brothers and sisters, so there were 6 of us in the family. And that's average. 6 or 7 was average for the neighborhood. There was families with 12, 13, 14, the rare ones with 1 or 2. We're wondering, what's wrong with those guys? But there was this family of 7 in our neighborhood. And I am sure that they fought like cats and dogs, within the house. If you went out to a bar and you messed with one of them, you were messing with all 7 of them. And their mom died young, and I think they aged from like 16 to probably close to 30. And their mom died young, suddenly. And there was a brother and sister who started arguing about what mom wanted to wear in the casket. So, you know, they were both absolutely positive they were right. They both let their Irish temper get up, and they said things that could never be taken back. And this is over 30 years ago now, and those brothers and sisters, their family, they don't talk to each other, and their kids don't talk to each other. Just because of what mom, you know, they thought mom would wear in the casket. She wouldn't want that. There is no way in hell that she would have wanted that. And it's such an emotional time to say things that you don't mean. Most people spend way more on planning a one-week vacation every year than they do on eternity. If you could just spend a few hours getting prepared, it would make a world of difference. And when we built this, we were thinking along the lines of, okay, we have our parents. Let's find out what they want. Let's find out what they want. You know, with 5 brothers and sisters, everybody's got different ideas. And then turn around and share it to the next generation so that they know what we want. This is the goal of Final Roman. It's the simple goal. Leave memories, not problems. How do we do that? Well, number one is to consider. We try and teach you what to think about. What are all those things that could cause problems besides just the medical? Not only do we go into medical and allow you to upload documents, upload your pulse, advanced directives, but we expound on that and give you things to think about for yourself that you might want to put in there. What are the 3 to 5 things that make life worth living for you? What's an unacceptable quality of life? We give you areas to write that out. And if you write it out, if you think about it, you're able to say what you want for yourself. And then in the next section there, we also talk about how you can teach the person who's going to be speaking for you when you can't speak for yourself to talk to the doctor. So when the doctor walks up and says, well, this is what I think we should do. What do 90% of the people in the world say when the doctor says that? Okay, well, we're trying to teach you to say, okay, doctor, now, if we do that, what are the odds that he's going to be able to do this, this, and this? How is that going to affect these things that are important to him? And all of a sudden you have a discussion. And you make a decision together, thinking about what you want, instead of what the doctor wants. The other areas to talk about are, simple is, leaving a message for a loved one, notifications, who to talk to, who to contact when you pass away. Legal and financial section, if you have a dog, who's going to take care of the dog? Who's the vet? Is the dog on any medications? How do you stop Facebook? I'm at that age where I get, 4 or 5 times a year, wish so-and-so a happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's how do you stop those things? So all those little things can help with planning. And then to document it. Make sure you document it. Write it down. Put it in the computer. I'm not saying you have to use Final Roman. I'm saying do it. Just make sure it is written down. And then communicate your wishes. Share them with as many people as you want. The more people that know about your healthcare wishes, all on the same page, the better off you're going to be, the better chance you're going to get what you want. If you have a financial planner, let them share with them, what your legal and financial wishes are. Share your healthcare wishes with your doctors and providers. Listen, she's getting into this a little bit, and I said, all right, I have a question for you. But can we talk about this death and dying section? Oh, I don't want to talk about that. There's no way I want to talk about that. I said, all right, fair enough. I understand. Let's just ask you one question. If you had a choice, where would you like to die? And she said, well, I'd like to be at home. I'm like, well, have you told anybody that? No. Well, how would we know that if you didn't tell us that? I don't know, but I would. I'm telling you now, I want to die at home. Okay, Mom. Well, who's like in the room with you? Well, your father, of course. And all you kids, like, have you told anyone that? Well, no, I just expected you know that. I think we kind of would have gotten that, Mom, but you know, it'd be nice if you told us and said, this is important to you. And you know, one last question. Would you like any music playing in the room? She goes, you know what? I would love that West Side Story soundtrack that we listened to when you were kids. I said, Mom, that would be wonderful. We'd be happy to do that for you, but you need to let us know. Now, there's all these other things in there, but you don't want to, you know, talk about this. So we'll, oh no, let me know. Let's see, you know. You can make everybody's life better and easier for them by preparing for your own. This is, I think, one of the most important things too, that every single wish that you leave, everyone can be a gift to your loved ones. What that does is gives them some direction. It allows them to honor your wishes instead of wondering about what you wanted. I mean, how simple would that have been for that mom to say, listen guys, make sure everybody knows, the green suit. If anything happens to me, I'm wearing the green suit. And they would have been happy to do it. They would have felt honored to follow the wishes. Not sharing wishes, you don't know. I think one of the most selfish things that you can say is, I don't care, I'll be dead. That is so selfish because everybody else might have their idea and they're fighting about that. You find out a little bit about the person and say, okay, say he's you know, a staunch liberal, okay, I'm gonna take their ashes, I'm gonna go put them over on Trump Tower. That's what you're gonna get if you don't tell me what you want. You can make up something along those lines. Anyway, but again, every single little gift you give, every wish you give is a gift. The more that you give, the better. There are absolutely so many different things that you need that can help prevent problems besides just legal documents. And they're absolutely important. It's really important to have a will. And it's really important to have a power of attorney for health care. You know, those two things everybody should have when they're over 18. But the things too that can cause problems, we have to consider those too. Or not even causing problems, what about just doing something good for someone? One of our areas is messages for loved ones. I have a buddy that I used to golf with back in Chicago. You know, he's elderly, he's not elderly, excuse me, he's older, that's what I meant to say. He's probably 86 now, and he's a widower, and we were golfing one day. He goes, Steve, what's this I hear you're doing, something about dying? I said, listen, it's not about dying. What it is about being prepared so that you can live your life the way you want and not have to worry about it. Yeah, so, you know. 6 months later, out of the blue, calls me up, he goes, hey Steve, guess what? You know, I got one of your final roadmaps, and I knew that because I saw it signed. You know, I signed up. Well, good, I'm glad you did it. What's up? Can I help with something? Is there a problem? He goes, no, I just wanted to tell you that last night I went out to dinner with my daughter, his only daughter, had a fantastic time. We shared a bottle of wine, we had so much fun, I felt so good. I went home and I wrote her a letter, and I put it in my final roadmap about how much that night meant to him. Mm-hmm. So when he passes away, she's going to get that letter. And he said, that was worth it for me. So there are so many different things that you can do around end of life besides the legal and the financial section. What can you do to share your wishes? You have to do these three things. These three things you can do, and I don't care how you do them, just do them. Well, I do care. Because I do care because I think that all the time and effort and work and years of building this that we put into it, we've actually, I think I can probably say we've got the best way to do it. And it can be shared with anybody in the world. It's only in English, but it doesn't matter where the family is. I'm sure none of you have heard the stories about where, you know, one daughter's living in a different city and the two other daughters are living by mom. Something happens, the one flies back, and the two are saying, this is what we're going to do for mom, that's what she wants. Oh no, we're not doing that. A little bit like the movie today. Like, oh no, you know, they're killing my mom. The idea is to get everybody on the same page ahead of time. So, I don't know if I answered the question, but I really think that planning ahead will make the grieving process start sooner and make it less bad. There's nowhere to make it easy, but I think it could help. So, plan. Thank you.